my name is Cynthia, and I'm here today to tell you a story about my great-grandfather. But before I begin, my name again is Cynthia Cooper, and I have two lovely children. And I want to share this story because I think it's important not only for my children and family to know, but I think it's time that the world know our story, our American story. My great-grandfather was born in Meridian, Mississippi. He was born a slave on a little farm. He was born without a name, nor any idea of his birth date. And he went on to become one of the leading missionaries and church builders of his time. I'll start with the fact that in 1888, can I back now? I'm sorry. I want to talk to you about the period in which he was born. He was born at the close of the Civil War, and he was about 10 years of age when Abraham Lincoln was killed. It was a very tumultuous time, and he had a very painful childhood. But he conquered that pain and went on to become a leader and what was called at that time a church builder. He along with 13 other former slaves in Birmingham, Alabama, developed a platform for a convention, and that convention was called the National Baptist Convention, USA. And what came out of that meeting in Birmingham, Alabama in 1888 was one of the largest building ever done by Negroes in the world. And that would be called the National Baptist USA Incorporated today. It started with 13 churches, and it now has 38,000 churches and over 7 million members. After doing this, of course, he traveled to Malawi and started a hospital and a economic development program for how they could manage their products there and sell them and be able to have an income from what was. Oh, you're such an amazing man. Such an amazing man. I don't even know how to say it. It's so important that young people know this history. That's my goal, really. I think if they could understand the power of these people, instead of looking at them as just slaves, but slaves that had the brilliance to create amass $1 billion worth of real estate by the close of the century. And that's a phenomenal feat for people that came here in chains. And we have to begin to look at them from a different perspective than just being a slave. And that they were men and women with desires for freedom. They fought for their freedom, and we continue that up to this day. If I could just read this piece to you, okay. Would that be okay? I recall that one of the soldiers who they called Lewis, I do not recall his surname, was especially good to me and gave me the first pair of trousers I had ever worn. They, of course, were too long and very baggy on me, but I managed to wear them by method of my own invention. Up until this time, I had no name. I had never been called anything but Nig, short for nigger. The need for a name developed when soon after we entered the camp, a good lady from Newark, Ohio opened a school for the contraband children, as we were called, in an empty barrack. As I recall her name, Miss Mary E. Reeves, gathering these small, all ex-slaves around her in the improvised schoolroom, Miss Reeves explained to us that she must enroll each child's name. I remember how they told her their names, Mary, John, Adam, F, and so on, And when she finally came to me, I hated to tell her my name was Nigger. In my dilemma, I remembered the soldier who gave me the pants, and I gave her Louis as my name. But my problem was not fully solved. Louis what? She asked. My little mind, like a rosebud, grew in the shade, worked slowly, but I finally remembered that another soldier, whose name was Jordan, had given me a blouse. So I appropriated his name also, and was put down on the list as Louis Jordan. Next day, she told us that she was going to call the roll, and each child must answer present. When she called Louis Jordan, no one responded, for I had entirely forgotten I had a name. Myself, and when all the children looked around for the boy, I looked around too. But the thoughtful teacher remembered me, and looking me straight in the eye, said, "Isn't your name Louis Jordan?" Like a flash, I answered, "Present." And after a few days drilling, I took it for granted that my name was Louis Jordan and not Nigger.